The purpose of this episode is to introduce the tech strategist in the smartphone analogy episode. A reminder that the qualitative platform is the catalyst that makes the thought process platform possible, which in turn makes it possible to synthesize professional and artificial intelligence. Professional, abbreviated PI, and thought process intelligence are ThinkSheet synonyms. The tech strategist will explain how the one-pager enables the C-suite and the AI engineers to collaborate far more efficiently because the AI engineers can see what the C-suite considers most important on their one-pagers. Sample users are Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. Now let's hear from the tech strategist.
In my current role, I'm mostly focusing around kind of technology modernization and simplification. And what that means is really looking at opportunities across our firm and doing optimization on data synthesis, with the whole AI, now ML buzz that started last year. So all financial services firms want to get ahead of the curve and kind of run the race in a direction that wherever things are going, and it's market driven, obviously. And the reason why I'm so excited about the whole C-suite opportunity, because for enterprise level firms, which is where my background stems for almost 30 years, this is an area where, the C-level suite executives, which I serve, and I'm a CBT, which is a chief business technologist. So I report into the CTO, where they don't understand the need of what they need because, traditionally, even firms still today utilize, believe it or not, local SharePoint sites, Excel sheets, emailing Excel sheets of information. And this tool, this ThinkSheet platform is really going to be a breakthrough because they don't know what they don't know. And I guess they don't know, they haven't seen it, so they don't know they need it. It's sort of like the whole smartphone evolution that started, right? Nobody really thought that they really needed a smartphone, and they were going to become reliant on a smartphone. But here we are today. We cannot leave our house without the smartphone. Let's point the arrow to the middle. Let's focus in the center, because everything really, in my mind, starts with the one pager and ends with the one pager. And just to describe the complexity of the whole CEO, C-level executive platform, in mid-sized firms, there's only one CEO, there's one CEO, there's one CIO, there's one of each. And in the larger companies, there's many of each. And what happens is there are dedicated folks at the C-level executives. There's multiple CIOs in large financial services firms. That for each division, there's a CIO. For each division, there's a CFO. For each division, there's a CTO. They all roll up to only one CEO because things are moving so fast. And ThinkSheet will facilitate through the collaborative platform that we have, right, to ensure that everybody doesn't miss anything and they can contribute. And kind of like when a light bulb idea comes to mind, they can actually use this as a vehicle to present information and to gain information. The CEO tells the CIO half the problem and says, we need an answer Monday, but we don't know the other half of the issue. But we need an answer Monday. Hence, this is why this is going to be effective in ensuring that all the critical thinking that happens and the decision making is actually presented in a fashion that it's iterative, platform that people can actually input and output. That's why the bi-directional kind of arrows, right? It's a continuous flow. And this is something that, in my mind, is going to be a disruptive technology entering the financial services or entering the corporate enterprise world. If we kind of move to the left, so let's talk about the left, starting with number one, with the whole professional intelligence. And what I tried to put together was sort of a blueprint illustration. Imagine the center stage as being kind of the orchestra, and everything around is what we need to support that one pager and that information flow across the executive suite system, ultimately coming down to how things are automated, right? How much do you automate? There's refinement. Again, there's technology controls, as I mentioned, right? Who has access to what, who can see what. But going back to, I guess, who has access to data and what people can see to ensure that the information flows up and down and directionally, to move support with our AI automation and intelligence. And then, sort of imagine like an arc flow where it's kind of cyclical, where, Bill talked about curation. So this is iterative. This is, as I mentioned, sort of like the blueprint to start the requirement process, the build process, the use case process, the kind of pilot process. We have everything in place, as we've spent a lot of time and effort, as you know, on